Hi friends, welcome back. Today we're talking about word problems with two statements of equality. This is Saxon Algebra 1, 3rd edition. So together, Charles and Nell picked 92 quarts of berries. If Charles picked 6 more quarts than Nell picked, how many quarts did each of them pick? So we see here, fabulous, how many? How many tells us we need to know the number of. So we want to know what the number of quarts picked by Charles and the number picked by Nell. So C equals number of quarts picked by Charles, and N equals the number of quarts picked by Nell. I'm just going to abbreviate that so we've got it nice and easy. Now, like I said in the previous video, Saxon does do subscripted variables, and we'll get there with that. So instead of C, we're going to say, so instead of doing it this way, we're going to say the number of Charles and the number of for Nell. Okay, so together they picked 92 quarts. So that's the easy part. NC, like meaning that if this person picked, so if Charles picked 1, then Nell picked 91, right? So together they add up to be 92 quarts. All right, now let's look at this next one. If Charles picked 6 more quarts than Nell picked, so Charles has more. So Charles, the number Charles picked is whatever Nell picked plus 6 more. All right, so now we have 2 statements here. What we can use is substitution or elimination. I think substitution is going to be a good idea here because we already have a variable all by itself. We have N, so the number Charles picked is all this garbage. We're going to take that, we're going to put that in right over here. So the number Nell picked plus 6 plus the number Nell picked again equals 92. So you see how that I've substituted that in there. If it helps, I can highlight it because I love to highlight. So that's that. I took this stuff over here and I put it right into here. All right. So these are really common on the SATs. So I want you to get to learning and loving these ones. All right. So what do we have here then? We've got 2. We're going to minus 6 from both sides. And we're going to combine like terms, 1n and 1n. So that's going to be 2 numbers that Nell picked equals 92 minus 6. I don't want to make a silly error. Yes, it's 86. Okay. Whew. So that means divide by 2, and we get the number that Nell picked is 43. 43. So all we have to do now is take that information and put it over here. So the number Charles picked is the number Nell picked, which we now know is 43, plus 6 more. So the number Charles picked is going to be 49. So Nell picked 43 and Charles picked 49. All right, the number of boys in Sarah's class exceeded the number of girls by 7. If there were a total of 29 pupils in the class, how many? How many? Okay, so that means that B equals number of boys, not just boys, number of boys. G equals number of girls. But because we are using subscripted variables, let's go ahead and write that instead of B. We're going to say N sub B, N sub G, N being for the number of. Let's start with so the number of boys in Sarah's class exceeded the number of girls by 7. So there were more boys than there were girls. So the number of boys equals the number of girls plus 7 more. If there were a total of 29 kids in the class, so if we took the total number of boys plus the total number of girls, we added that up, we would end up with 29. Okay, again, substitution is probably going to be our easiest bet here because all I have to do is say the number of boys equals all this garbage. Take that, put it into this equation right over here. So NG plus 7 plus NG equals 29. Minus 7, we get 2NG. I can barely see that G there. Sorry. I used to write in pencil and then students told me that it was a hard time seeing it. So that equals 2. So divide by 2, we get the number of girls was 1. Man, lonely kid. Then so now that we know the number of girls is 1, we can take that over here and say the number of boys equals the number of girls, which we now know is 1, plus 7. So the number of boys equals 8. So girls 1, boys 8. All right. Philip cut a 38-meter rope into 2 pieces. The long piece was 9 meters longer than the short piece. What were the 2 lengths? Okay, so what were the 2 lengths? So how long were they? So what we're looking for is the L equals the length of the longer piece. And how about S equals length of the shorter piece? That'll work. And we're not going to use subscripted on this because I think it might get a little confusing. So he cut a 38-meter rope. Well, okay, that means that the longer length plus the shorter length, those guys added up to, so L plus S equaled 38 meters. The long piece was 9 meters longer than the short piece. So the long piece was the short piece plus 9 more meters. All right, again, let's use some substitution here. Take this guy, put it right in over here. So we get S plus 9 plus S equals 38. Let's go ahead and subtract 9 from both sides. At the same time, let's add those S's together to get 2S equals 29. Divide by 2, divide by 2. And that gives us 14.5. The shorter piece was 14.5 meters. So let's make sure we put our unit on there. Generally, when you're talking about cutting things in Saxon, you can get decimals and fractions, that sort of thing. So don't be alarmed that it's not a perfect whole number. Okay, so the longer piece equals the shorter piece, which is 14.5 plus 9. So if we do that, we get 23.5 meters for the longer piece. And there you go on that one. Let's take a look at some of the examples now. All right, so example number 4. The sum of 2 numbers is 72. The difference of 2 numbers is 26. What are the numbers? Okay, let X equal first number. Let Y equal second number. This key or this legend that you have to find is really helpful, and it's a good idea to get in the habit of writing that out. All right, the sum of 2 numbers, remember sum means add, so if I take my X plus my Y, I'm going to get 72. Difference means subtract, so if I subtract the 2 numbers, minus Y equals 26. What are the numbers? Okay, so in this case, I think you can solve by elimination, but I want to make sure that you've already done that. Hold on. Okay, yes, you've covered elimination in lesson 62, I think it was. So if this looks confusing, you can go back and revisit that. So elimination, why would I choose elimination? Well, because I can see that very easily that I can go ahead and eliminate my Y's here. So I went ahead and moved this and stacked it right on top of here. Now I'm going to add these together, and when I do that, I eliminate my Y's because plus Y minus Y gets rid of that. So I get 2X equals 72, so 6, 7, 8, so 98. Divide both sides by 2, and I get X equals 49. Okay, so I guess I shouldn't have crossed that out because what you can do with this 49 is pick either the top or the bottom. So let's do the bottom here. To find Y. Actually, no, that's a negative Y. Let's use the top one, because otherwise we have to divide by a negative. The negative one at the end, and I'm lazy. I don't want to have to do that. All right, so 49 plus Y equals 72 minus 49 from both sides. All right, we get, so 12, 13. So if we carry, borrow that. So let me just make sure I'm not making a simple error. Why is my... No, see, 23. Okay, I knew something was slightly off. Okay, so the first number is 49 and the second number is 23. There's your answer. All right, the greater of 2 numbers is 16 greater than the smaller. So we've got 2 numbers. We've let L equal larger number and let, I'm going to say M equal smaller number because S always looks like a 5, so let M equal smaller number. The greater of the 2 numbers is 16 greater than the smaller. So the larger number is the smaller number plus 16. When added together, their sum, so when I take L plus M, the sum is is 4 less than 3 times the smaller? Remember, less than is a flip it around phrase. You got to flip it around. So we're going to do 3 times the smaller. So 3 times the smaller minus 4. All right. Oof, that was a doozy. Let's use substitution. L equals all this garbage. So we're going to put that in right here. So we get m plus 16 equals 3m minus 4. This pen is annoying me. Oh, okay. So then we've got m. All right, so I'm going to minus m from both sides. And then at the same time, I'm going to add 4. So plus 4. So that gives me 20 equals 2m. 20 equals 2m. Divide both sides by 2. And m equals 10. So the smaller of the two numbers is then 10. Let's see. Let me pause this for just a second. All right, I made an error here. I was like, looking at this, it doesn't look right. And that's because back over here, I took this L and I substituted it in, but I forgot that M. So when that happens, you just cross it out and start over. So what we're going to say then is L equals m plus 16. So m plus 16, that's this L right here, plus m. So we got to add that other m on there, equals 3m minus 4. All right, so that's 2m plus 16 equals 3m minus 4. All right, minus 2m, minus 2m. That gets rid of this, plus 4, plus 4. That's going to give me 20 equals m. Okay, that looks more like it. So if 20 equals m, all we have to do is take that information over here and say L equals 20 plus 16. So L equals 36. So the larger number is 36. The smaller number is 20. All right, the ratio of two numbers is 5 to 4, and the sum of their numbers is 63. What are the numbers? So the ratio of two numbers is 5 to 4. So we're looking for two numbers. So let x equal first number. Let y equal second number. Okay, let me find a different pen. When in doubt, find a better pen. All right, the next guy that we've got are the ratio. Remember, ratio is just a fraction, right? So the ratio of two numbers is 5 to 4. So x to y equals 5 to 4. Let's go ahead and cross multiply that. So we end up with 5y equals 4x. Okay, cool. The sum of the two numbers, so x plus y equals 63. Now, I want to use substitution here, or I guess I could use elimination. Let's try that. Elimination, what I'm going to have to do is set this equal to 0. I want to see how I have x and y here on the same side. I want to do the same thing over here. So I'm going to minus 5y, and I get 0 equals 4x minus 5y. So really what that is 4x minus 5y equals 0. Now looking at this, in order to eliminate either the x or the y, I'm going to have to multiply this top one. If I multiply it by -4 or just by +5, I would be able to eliminate. So let's do 4. So when I do that, I'm going to write it right underneath here. So now we have 4x plus 4y equals 63 times 4, 252. Now, I made a mistake here because 4x and 4x is going to give me 8x, and I was trying to eliminate those. So all I have to do is multiply it by -1, which when you do that, all it does is just change all your signs. So you can save yourself a step and write it down like, just change every sign. So if it's a negative, make it a positive, positive, make it a negative, like this. And basically what I did is either divide by -1 each of my chunks or multiply the whole thing by -1. All right, now that I have this guy can go out of the way. And we have, cancel these out. We have -5y and -4y is -9y equals -252. Divide by -9. Divide by -9. Y equals 252 divided by 9 gives us 28. Okay, so our second number is 28. Now let's come back over to here and we want to find our x. So we say, okay, 4x minus 5 times y, which is 28, equals 0. So 28 times 5 gives me 140. So 4x minus 140 equals 0. Let's add 140 to both sides. and we get 4x equals 140. Divide that by 4, we end up with x equals 35. X equals 35. So our two numbers are 28 and 35. Awesome. All right, one last thing. We got to do our practice problems. So here are the practice problems. There we go. Here are the practice problems. Pause the video, do those, and then come on back. Okay, so let's see. When you come on back, you should get the numbers are, for A, the numbers are 69 and 29. And for B, you should get the girls are 28 equals girls, and boys equals 13. If you did not get that, stick around and I'll show you what to do. All right, the sum of two numbers is 98. So let x equal first number. Let y equal second number. Add those, second number. Add those two together, you get 98. The difference of the same two numbers is 40. Difference means subtract. X minus y equals 40. Ooh, this is a great one for elimination, because if I stack these two, so here's our two equations. If I move this guy right over here, right? This time I won't cross it out. I get 40. Get rid of my y's, I get 2x equals, I'm always worried I'm gonna make a small error, so yeah, 58. And then we divide both sides by 2. We get x equals 20, can't write, 29. That's our first number, right? Take that information over here. We have 29 minus y equals 40. This is gonna give us a negative y, but that's all right. Minus 29 minus 29. We get negative y equals, let me think about this. Hold on, because if we add those together, we do get 40 standby. Okay, this actually brings up a really good point. So if you see, if we do this, we end up with negative, and then if we have 40 minus 29, right, that would give us 11. We'll divide both sides by negative 1, and we end up with y equals negative 11. Now, having a negative number in a situation like this is not usually the case. So what we need to do is we have to go back to here. What we should have done is specify let x equal the first number and let y equal the larger number. We needed to specify one of them is larger for the difference. If this happens and you end up with a negative, all you have to do is flip your numbers around. Y minus x equals 40. And so we say y minus, so we don't do this one, minus 29 equals 40. Add 29 to both sides and get y equals 69. Now that looks much better. So keep that in mind. Specify one is, and then if you have a difference, right, you take the one that you specified as the larger one and you put it in the front. Okay, so, or if this happens, you just write it the other way. All right, the number of girls in Marvin's class exceeded the number of boys by 11. So let G equal number of girls. Let B equal number of boys. So the girls equaled the boys plus 11. Oh, how many? That's why I said number of. If there were 37 kids in the class, pupils in the class, how many girls, I haven't heard pupils to describe students in forever. How many girls were, and how many were boys? So the girls plus the boys gave us a total of 37. So G equals all this garbage. So we're going to take that, insert it right over here. So B plus 11 plus B equals 37 minus 11 minus 11. 2B, because I'm B plus B, right, equals 26. Nope. Why am I having a total brain? Yes, 26. Why did that look weird? I don't know. Divide by 2, boys equals 13. So now that we know that we have 13 boys in the class, we come over here, we say girls equals the number of boys, which we now know is 13, plus 11. So the number of girls gives us 13 boys by 11. So that is 24. And I said that the answer was 28. I think I just wrote it down wrong. So my apologies on that. If you stuck around to watch this, that should be 24. Okay, if you have any questions, leave them down below. Otherwise, great work, and we'll see you next time.